You're standing in Akihabara on a Sunday afternoon. Bright billboards glowing overhead. Anime music spilling out from electronics stores. Crowds pressing shoulder to shoulder through narrow streets. Tourists taking photos. Couples shopping. Employees in maid costumes handing out flyers near the station. Everything feels loud, busy, alive. Then suddenly, you hear screaming. At first, people don't even react properly, because Akihabara is always noisy. But then the crowd starts moving strangely, people turning their heads, running. Someone falling hard onto the pavement. And through the chaos, a truck keeps moving forward, not stopping, not slowing down. Bodies hitting the windshield, people diving away too late. The sound of metal crushing against flesh echoing through the street. Then the truck finally crashes to a stop. For 1 second, everything goes quiet. And the driver opens the door. He steps out while holding a knife and starts running toward the crowd. Tonight, we are going to talk about the Akihabara massacre by a lonely man named TOMOHIRO KATO. Welcome to the podcast you can't unhear. TOMOHIRO KATO was born in 1982 in Aomori, Japan. Before he became a killer, his story already felt painfully lonely. Not movie-style lonely. Not dramatic. Just emotionally cold, in the kind of way that slowly hollows someone out over years. His mother was extremely controlling, extremely harsh. The kind of parent who treated love like something conditional. Good grades? You matter. Failure? You become worthless. And honestly, there are certain homes where children grow up constantly feeling like they're one mistake away from losing safety completely. Kato's house sounded like one of those places. His parents separated while he was young. But even after the separation, his mother reportedly refused to let him see his father regularly. And his father wasn't absent because he was unstable or violent. He worked as a manager at a financial institution. He had a stable life. But Kato remained trapped, mostly with his mother. Whenever he got bad grades, she exploded. Not just yelling. Humiliation. Punishment. Sometimes she kicked him out of the house during winter, wearing only light clothes and sandals. Imagine that. Cold Japanese winter air. Bare feet, freezing against pavement. Standing outside your own house as a child, wondering when you're finally allowed back inside. Children remember humiliation very clearly. Especially when it comes from parents. Kato had a younger sibling who suffered similar abuse. But somehow, the sibling processed the trauma differently and eventually built a normal life. Kato didn't. And I think that's one of the most uncomfortable truths about trauma. People always want predictable outcomes. Good parenting creates good adults. Bad parenting creates bad adults. But human beings are not math equations. 2 children can survive the exact same house, and one walks away functional, while the other carries the damage forever. Despite everything, Kato actually became intelligent. Good grades. Athletic. Disciplined. Which probably reinforced his mother's behavior psychologically. Because from her perspective, the cruelty was working. But success built through fear usually creates very fragile self-worth underneath. And eventually, that pressure cracked. In high school, Kato entered Aomori High School, an elite school with high academic standards. And suddenly, he stopped being exceptional. Imagine going from gifted child to ranking near the bottom of your class almost overnight. His ranking reportedly dropped to around 300th out of 360 students. And honestly, for students raised in environments where achievement equals love, failure feels catastrophic. Not disappointing, catastrophic. His dream was Hokkaido University, one of Japan's most respected schools. But rejection letters started arriving instead. Hokkaido University rejected him. Other universities rejected him. And eventually, he enrolled in an automotive vocational school instead. Not because he loved it, because it was what remained. As he entered adulthood, his life slowly started unraveling. Temporary factory jobs, unstable employment, isolation. There's a very specific kind of loneliness attached to modern adulthood in cities like Tokyo. Tiny apartments, long commutes, people surrounded by millions of others while feeling completely invisible. Kato drifted between temporary jobs, including work at a car parts factory. But his contract eventually wasn't renewed. After that, things got darker. He borrowed money constantly. Debt piled up. He disappeared from home for days pretending to look for work. And meanwhile, his resentment kept growing. Not inward, outward, toward everyone. Neighbours, co-workers, successful people, society itself. In 2006, he attempted suicide by crashing his car into a wall at high speed, but he survived. Sometimes surviving doesn't automatically make people grateful. Sometimes it just leaves them feeling even more trapped. Now he had debt, medical bills, car damage, and still no stable future. And slowly, his online posts started becoming darker and darker. By 2008, the internet had basically become his entire emotional world. Anonymous forums, message boards, late-night posts written by someone desperate to feel noticed by anyone. Reading his posts now feels deeply uncomfortable. Not because they're mysterious, because they sound painfully human, lonely, bitter, humiliated. He wrote things like, "If I had a girlfriend, I'd be motivated to work. I don't have friends or a future. Everyone ignores me because I'm ugly." Modern loneliness can become dangerous when resentment starts replacing connection, especially online. Because eventually, people stop seeing others as human beings and start seeing them as symbols of everything they lack. Then came June 5th, 2008. Kato arrived at work and couldn't find his uniform. Instead of asking co-workers, like a normal person, he immediately convinced himself someone hid it intentionally. That everyone was mocking him, targeting him. So he got angry, walked out, and convinced himself he'd been fired. Even though the company actually still expected him to return the next day. That detail really stayed with me, because it shows how distorted his thinking had become. Every inconvenience felt personal. Every embarrassment became proof the world hated him. 3 days later, June 8th. Sunday. Akihabara. If you've ever been there, you know how crowded it gets. Bright signs everywhere. Electronics stores stacked floor after floor. Cosplayers. Tourists. People laughing outside arcades. The kind of place filled with energy constantly. And honestly, that's partly why the attack felt so horrifying. Because Akihabara represented youth culture, escapism, hobbies, fun. Then suddenly, it became a crime scene. Before the attack, Kato posted online saying he planned to hurt people in Akihabara. And here's the disturbing part. During later evaluations, he admitted part of him hoped someone would stop him. Police, strangers online, anyone. But nobody did. The internet during the 2000s was full of violent, anonymous posts. People became desensitized. Most assumed he was trolling. Not serious. So his posts disappeared into the noise. And somewhere inside that silence, Kato interpreted being ignored as confirmation that nobody cared whether he lived or died. Then, around 12:30 p.m., he drove a rented truck directly into pedestrians near Akihabara station. People flew across the street, bodies hitting pavement, screaming everywhere. But the horror didn't stop there. Kato climbed out holding a knife and started stabbing random strangers, office workers, tourists, people who had absolutely nothing to do with his suffering. That's the part I think matters most here, because trauma explains pain. It does not justify violence, especially against innocent people. Witnesses described complete chaos, crowds running blindly, blood spreading across crosswalks, people screaming for police. And in the middle of all that panic, Kato reportedly looked strangely calm, almost disconnected, like years of anger had finally exploded outward all at once. The attack lasted only minutes, but by the end, 7 people were dead, 10 others seriously injured. At the time, it was Japan's deadliest mass attack since the 1995 Tokyo subway sarin attack. Police arrested him quickly, and afterward, Kato confessed almost immediately. He talked openly about childhood abuse, loneliness, feeling unwanted, feeling invisible. And honestly, what makes this case unsettling isn't mystery. It's familiarity. A lonely person isolated online, resentful of society, desperate for recognition. That archetype feels very modern now, which makes the story harder to distance ourselves from. Psychologists evaluated him extensively afterward, but ultimately, they concluded he fully understood his actions. No psychosis. No loss of reality. No inability to control himself. The attack was planned carefully. Truck rented in advance. Weapons purchased beforehand. Which meant legally, he was fully responsible. In 2011, Tomohiro Kato received a death sentence. His lawyers tried arguing that childhood abuse shaped him psychologically, but the court rejected leniency. This part always leaves people conflicted, because you can feel sympathy for someone's suffering, while still condemning what they became. Both things can exist simultaneously. Kato spent 11 years on death row. During that time, he wrote books reflecting on his childhood and crimes. Then finally, in July 2022, he was executed at age 39. The ending feels strangely empty. No redemption. No closure. Just another lonely man disappearing into history after destroying countless other lives around him. I think what makes the Akihabara attack linger isn't just the violence. It's the feeling underneath it. The terrifying possibility of someone slowly emotionally collapsing in complete silence while surrounded by millions of people. And maybe that's the saddest part. Somewhere along the way, Tomohiro Kato stopped seeing himself as human. Then eventually, he stopped seeing everyone else that way too. Tokyo kept moving after that day. The crowds returned. The trains kept running. The billboards kept glowing over Akihabara every night. But for the survivors, for the families, for the people who witnessed those few minutes of chaos, the city probably never looked exactly the same again. As always, stay safe out there, guys. See you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.